Welcome to the video series about building a garage or a shop space. This segment is about flooring, what to do or not to do anything. And in the case of what I chose, I went through a whole bunch of options, so let me detail that for you. Now, most garage spaces or shop spaces are going to have concrete floors. You just know that right off the bat. For a commercial space, like what I'm trying to do here, I'm very focused on kind of lighting and lighting uniformity, video. I would not do the same thing here as I would in a home space. In a home space, you can get a lot more creative with color. I'd have different color walls, some warm lighting, some cool lighting, just a good variety of diversity of color. For here, I need a unified color, white, so I can change the wall color with lighting. I can change the ambience of the room just based on the different types of light I use, and it requires kind of a neutral or white wall. The second thing, just knowing that, I chose a gray floor color. It's a gray with a little bit of black and a little bit of white fleck in it, but mostly on the camera it's going to look gray. So it kind of blends with everything. So I knew that. I knew, okay, I'm going to do gray floors. There's a whole bunch of options. The first simplest option is modular flooring like Racedeck or Swisstrax, and basically they're little floor tiles you put on the floor and you piece them together based on how much space you need. Now, depending on what system you use, what type of colors and all that, the designs you do, it can be extremely expensive. But the nice thing is it's modular. You pull one up and replace it if you damage it. There's a ton of flexibility in that. But the next thing you have to decide, if you're doing flooring like I did, I have wet, I have winter, I have salt, I plan on having chemicals. I don't want things getting under tiles where I have to pull up tiles and clean them if it's not draining, especially in winter when you get slush and salt. I wanted a floor that's not, raised up with tiles where I can easily just squeegee it, clean it, spray it, wipe it down, done. And one of the things I always wanted to do was epoxy floors, which can get extremely expensive and extremely bad if you don't have it done right. So with these floors, I did choose to do epoxy. Now, epoxy floors, if you haven't ever heard of them before, basically it's a resin. You apply it over the concrete surface. Now, it gets poured on, rolled on. There's a whole bunch of steps to it, including mixing it up. Now, this is where it gets extremely expensive because epoxy done right can be extremely hard and durable with great slip resistance, great aesthetics, and super resistant to chemicals, wear and tear, dropping, tools, all that crap, and it can last well over 10 years. Now, when you say all that, I wasn't prepared for the cost of it. I got about 5 different quotes, and it ranged anywhere from $3.50 a square foot all the way up to $5 a square foot. When you add that up, times 1,000 or 900 square feet, you're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 just to do the floors. So that's why epoxy can get cost prohibitive really quick. Now with epoxy, you can do a whole bunch of things. It can just look flat gray or any color you want. You can mix in with the epoxy. You can do paint chips in the epoxy like you see in those do-it-yourself kits, or you can do quartz where it's like a stone, which is what I chose. There's a stone media that's put on top of the epoxy. It's laid out like sand and then epoxied over, and it gives you this really like stone looking floor with a lot of texture, great slip resistance. That's one of the reasons why I wanted this. It is like if you fall on this, you will take your skin off. There's so much grip on this floor. So it's great for wet, slippery, chemicals, oils. It's amazing, but super expensive. Now the way that it works with epoxy is they used to acid etch concrete. So if your concrete's in really bad shape, that's part of the cost. They have to come out, they have to patch it, they have to grind it down. So they take a diamond grinding machine that's hooked up to 220, they grind the shit out of the concrete. So basically it's designed to rough up the surface. So the epoxy and the chemicals have something to bind to. If you don't prep the surface right, it's just going to be total crap. It will peel up, chip, crack so easily. So prep is the most laborious part of the whole thing. So you're taking a machine, you're grinding all the concrete down, cleaning it, and then you're going to take, sometimes they also shot blast it. So not only are they grinding it, they're shot blasting it. So surface prep is the big thing with epoxy floors. So once they get all that done, they lay down the initial, they pour it out, roll it out, the epoxy layer on the floor, let that set up, and then they could put down whatever broadcast, which is broadcast is a fancy word for if you want paint chips or quartz. They put that all over there and just let it set overnight until it kind of cures. So once that's cured and flattened out, they walk around with spikes in their shoes so they don't screw up the floor, and then they put another layer, roll it out, and then just kind of squeegee it out, and then you have a finished surface like this. The thing is it takes a while to cure, and unfortunately for me, the friggin' Skyjack had to go back in here to do the lighting way too soon, and the way those tires turned, it chipped the floor up a couple spots, so I have to have that fixed. But that's something to be aware of. You know, it takes a little bit longer to cure. They say, they always glorify, well, you can be on it in 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, that's true. You can walk on it. But if you're putting heavy stuff on it, you want to let it cure for like 5 days just to be safe. So that's one of the things to talk about with it. Now people are going to ask about, well, do-it-yourself kits. They sell them at Home Depot. They have these types of kits available through Sherwin-Williams. There's companies like on GarageJournal. They talk about it on these websites where these manufacturers have do-it-yourself kits. And some of them are not the greatest because they're not high quality. It's designed to be affordable. There's some companies that will put together a package for you. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's tested. They give you support in terms of directions. But again, it's all about prep. If you're thinking about doing epoxy floors, you have to prep the surface. If you don't do that, you can forget about whatever you're doing because you might as well just not do it. I'm telling you, because if you do epoxy floors and you screw it up and don't prep the surface and it starts peeling up and you have to grind the whole thing down again, it's going to be just 5 times more work to start from the scratch. So do it right to start. Don't screw it up. Whether you do it yourself or have somebody else do it, make sure they're doing it right. Last thing to note about epoxy floors, there's a ton of companies that claim they have a shitload of experience with it. The best thing to do is get multiple quotes. Talk to these people. See how they are when they come out. Some of them may not have the best customer service. I'll be honest. Some of them I've talked to just didn't have good customer service, but they had a huge reputation of clients and customers that I saw in person, the work level that they do. And that's why I chose the people that I did, is based on what they've done in the past, not the sales pitch. So that's something to look at as well if you're going to choose a contractor or a company that does it. The other options you have are decorative concrete. Really, if you're doing a garage space and you're not worrying about ultimate slip resistance, and you're not worried about you don't have winter where you're at with slush and salt, you can do a decorative concrete, like a polished concrete that looks amazing. And I will have to get some pictures. I'll inject them into this video so you can see what it looks like. But really, they're remarkable and they are very expensive, but they can really transform a regular garage into this unbelievable showroom-like space if that's something that you're looking to do. So also, you have the modular tiles, you have epoxy, you have urea flooring, you have all these different chemical type floorings that are similar to epoxy. And then you have polished concrete, decorative concrete. There's just so much cool shit you can do with garage floors. So it's one of the most fun parts of creating a garage is the flooring choices.